India enters the festive mode, Bata has launched their new campaign, which is rooted in the insight that anyone can feel like a celebrity. All they need is self-confidence and a stylish pair of shoes. And for this campaign, Bata has tied up with popular social media influencers as well. I'm catching up with Badri Beriwal, Chief Strategy and Business Development Officer, Bata India, who's speaking to us about how they are making Bata relevant to the young Indian consumer of today, their expectation from the festival and focus moving forward. Badri, welcome to CNBC TV18.
Thanks, Shibani.
Badri, let's begin this conversation first speaking about your new campaign which features influencers. So tell us more, and how did you think of engaging with the influencers for this campaign?
Right. So Shibani, I think consumers today are globally connected and highly style conscious, right? And this season, as we get into the festivity mode, we have come out with two collections. One is City Casual collection, and second is Celebration collection. Now, both these collections are inspired by global style. While we bring them, I think the idea was that how can we make every common man feel that they can be stylish, and every person can be celebrity was the idea. And we thought that the fact that influencers are the new celebrities, what a brilliant idea to take influencers and show them in a new avatar which they are typically not seen, and make them as style models.
What is the kind of image, or what is the kind of brand image that you want for Bata going forward? Like, how do you want Bata to be perceived by your consumers today?
See, Bata has always stood for trust, trust of the family, the fact that you get amazing collection, the fact that you get very comfortable shoes, and the fact that you get them at a quite affordable price. Now, these are some of the values that Bata has always embodied. The work that the team has been doing for quite some time now is to ensure that we are also seen as style forward. And that is where, if you've seen our past campaign where we had surprisingly Bata followed with now City Casual collection and followed with Celebration collection, it harps on the fact that we are trying to bring in global style to Indian consumers across our network of 2,100 plus stores.
Yeah, global style to Indian consumers, does that hint towards premiumization?
Yeah, I think there is of course, there is a set of consumers where we have to premiumize and offer solutions and products which is at the premium end. And that's where, our whole approach of bringing brands which are more and more attuned to these consumers is very relevant, whether it's Hush Puppies or North Star or Comfort or Power, right? So bringing in global styles and technology is one stream. And the other part is, catering to large part of tier 2, tier 3 town of India as well. And that's where distribution and ensuring our accessibility is built is also a growth lever for us.
Yeah, Badri, when it comes to, the strategy function in an organization, it is typically the consumer's voice at the table. So if you can tell us, what does your consumer, or what does the consumer of Bata want from the brand today?
I think when we talk to our consumers, one thing that definitely comes again and again, and the reason why consumers continue to shop with us, is sheer range of products that they can get at one place. The fact that you can get most comfortable shoes, most reliable shoes at the right price. I think these are some of the tenets that has held Bata together. And the fact that now we are offering some of the most global styles and designs in our brands is something that is further fueling our growth.
Since the onset of COVID, athleisure is something that has really picked up, and we have seen most of the footwear brands really amping up their athleisure strategy, getting in sneakers. So what is Bata's strategy and approach there, Badri?
So Shibani, we have, if you look at in our portfolio, two strong brands. One is Power and second is North Star. And these are both global brands which are really strong in many countries. Now we are, we have been present in India with these brands as well. But as there is, sneakerization happening and casualization that is happening in the country, you've seen us make efforts towards this by launch of our sneaker studio, where we have brought together all our, sneaker collection together in one wall for shoppers to choose from. Having said that, what further we are doing is to bring in new styles, more global in nature, more attuned to youngsters, more of collection and designs that youngsters are looking forward to. That is something that you will see more from our stable. You will also see us investing behind some of these brands to make them more, make them more known and make them more, relevant in Indian market.
Yeah, Badri, we are speaking in the thick of, the festival season. What are your expectations from this festival season, both from the urban and the semi-urban markets?
All I can say is we are all ready. I mean, the fact that, we've got our new collection, both casual and celebration collection ready. We've got 500 plus of our doors refreshed before the festivities, which is important from the fact that, when you have store aging, you want to refresh and make sure that you put best foot forward for, shoppers to walk in our stores. And we are putting big monies behind our campaign this season as well.
Big plans and, key focus areas going forward for Bata India, Badri.
Oh, absolutely clear. Continue to drive distribution, continue to drive our store expansion. That is an important lever. Continue to build on our power brands, ensure that brand relevance is built, ensure we make our brand more relevant for youth. I think these are the top 3 priorities.
Okay, and you mentioned store expansion. So which markets are you looking at, Badri?
Actually, while growth in tier 2, tier 3 cities is happening for sure, and we do see a lot of opportunity there, both through our own store expansion and through MBOs. What is also important is the fact that there is a lot of growth happening within metros as well. I mean, we all know how our cities are expanding, and as cities expand, it is important for brands to ensure that their presence is there in upcoming, new metropolitan areas as well. So we see opportunities all across and we continue to drive them.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for speaking to us today.
Thanks a lot, Shibani.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have Deepender Rana, Executive Managing Director, South Asia, Insights Division, Kantar, and Soumya Mohanty, Managing Director and Chief Client Officer, South Asia, Insights Division, Kantar, speaking about their 2023 Kantar BrandZ Top 75 Most Valuable Indian Brands report. Welcome back. Tata Consultancy Services, or TCS, has retained its #1 position in the 2023 Kantar BrandZ Top 75 Most Valuable Indian Brands report for second consecutive year, with a brand value of $43 billion. HDFC Bank, Infosys and Airtel also hold on to their top 4 positions, while State Bank of India rises 1 place to enter the top 5. India's top 75 brands have a combined value of $379 billion. However, a decline of 4% from 2022, but a modest decrease given the ongoing economic volatility across markets in the world. To tell us more, we are joined in by Deepender Rana, Executive Managing Director, South Asia, Insights Division, Kantar, and Soumya Mohanty, Managing Director and Chief Client Officer, South Asia, Insights Division, Kantar. So Deepender and Soumya, first, if you can share with us the key highlights of the report. Deepender, let's begin with you, and then Soumya, you can add on.
Sure. So the highlight is really the resilience of India and Indian brands. So they really held steady in tough times because, with the effect of inflation, war, interest rate increases, and the rest of the disruption, the global brand values are dropped by 20%, but India has held quite steady and is only 4% down. So what has really protected us is the resilience of the Indian domestic market, because about 60% of the consumption comes from domestic demand.
Sure. Over to you, Soumya. Some of the interesting things that you spotted, while coming up with the 75 top Indian brands list.
I think the most interesting thing, Shibani, would be what Rana was saying, that the continued importance of investing in brand. So it's clear that the brands that have held on to their equity, so the brands that we call it demand power, so the brands that have actually grown and held on to their demand power are the ones that have done better and have outperformed. And that's something we have been saying year after year after year. The need for investing in brands. And the other important thing that I think we are calling out this time particularly is the importance of maintaining differentiation. It's increasingly getting, the market is getting fragmented. The entry barriers are reducing. There are a lot more players today than there were earlier. So it's really important not just to be relevant, but also to be consistently building upon your differentiation. And that's what, actually, that's what FMCG players have done very well. So while you will see it's banking and automotive and telecom that dominate, FMCG has actually been pretty resilient across the years. And that's one of the reasons is they have been able to build differentiation in a consistent way.
Yeah, and it's also incidentally 10 years of the Kantar BrandZ report. I remember going for this launch event 10 years ago. I believe it happened at Four Seasons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So, Deepender, if you can share with us, how have the trends evolved, in shaping this 75 top most Indian valuable brands list over the past 10 years, and what are the factors that contribute to the brand value? How have they changed over the past 10 years?
Right. So I think one is the contrast between India and the rest of the world. India has been a spectacular growth story. So if you look at the value of the top 50 Indian brands, it's gone up 5 times almost, whereas our GDP has gone up about 80%. So you could clearly see that brands are really driving value creation in the economy at large. And then you do see, as one moves from just manufacturing or generic services, in our case B2B services, to much more of I would say branded offerings which are differentiated. That's what really creates the value. I mean, when you assemble an Apple phone, most of the value is still getting created in the US. That's the reality. So that's the power of branding, as opposed to just, let's say, manufacturing in India. And I think that's the transition India is beginning to make and will keep making. So the other thing is, globally, the top 50 or the top brands have grown only 2.5 times, whereas India has grown, Indian top brands have grown 5 times. So that just shows how much, it's been India's decade. And then, of course, the forecasts are that it will continue to be India's decade as we move towards 2030.
Yeah.
So it's a story of continued success. And maybe Soumya can talk a bit more about...
Yes, and also the fact that how do, these top 10 brands in this list, because everyone is talking about, India as a shining beacon. All the business leaders are speaking about that. So how do these top 10 brands add to this entire India growth story?
So I'll just add to what Rana was saying in terms of what we have observed over the last decade. And there are actually 2 parts in which you can divide this period, the pre-COVID and the post-COVID. So if we look at when COVID happened, and if we look at the period after that, the building blocks of what drives brand growth shifted a bit. So it still remains the same. It's still, brands need to be meaningful. They need to be differentiated. You need to know about them. But there are other factors like purpose, the commitment to sustainability, which were not even present during the earlier times. There were other factors like trust and corporate responsibility, but they were not as important as they have emerged in the post-COVID period. And that's the difference that is sort of continuing, even as we are seeing this rebound back after COVID. So to some extent, Shibani, things have shifted. Consumers are looking for brands that stand for something. So having said that, now if we come back to the 10 brands that are the top performers, I mean, what binds it? They're across sectors. I mean, we have B2B tech brands, we have BFSI brands, and we have Airtel, which is a telecom brand. So they are cross-sectoral. What is remarkable about them is most of them have remained as consistently across the 10 years. So they have been able to actually understand what the customer wants and have been able to evolve with time. And that's what is important. So from whether we are talking about digital banking, whether we talk about the way Airtel has actually gone beyond the price wars to remain consistent to driving high value consumers and the kind of services they are looking for. So they have invested in their brand and they have remained consistent to their strategy and therefore their purpose. I think that's what is common. And the consistency is actually remarkable across these 10 brands and across the last decade.
Sure. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today.
It was a pleasure, Shibani.
Pleasure.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon.